So let's take a look at some general guidelines for tiering, which is really, I want you to think about it as a process for creating differentiated tasks according to readiness data. So when you're designing a set of tiered assignments, the first thing you do is determine what you want kids to know, understand, and be able to do for the activity. Think of it as for the lesson, for the series of lessons, and you're doing that because it's going to serve as the set of targets for all learners. Then you'll analyze your student assessment information relative to whatever the lesson's KUDs are. So given what I want them to be able to know, understand, and be able to do, what does my data say about their readiness for meeting or exceeding those targets? Then take a successful activity, one that you've used before. You could create a new one, but what you want is for it to be interesting, for it to require thinking and clear focus on whatever the set of targets is. Then think about the varied levels of readiness among the students. Your data is your indicator for this. And pose the following questions of yourself. Will the lesson, the one that you selected as it's designed, really challenge your most able students? Is it likely to challenge grade level students, or will it challenge struggling learners? Given the targets, that one lesson that you have used in the past or you have in the curriculum guide or even from the textbook, where is the task pitched as it's designed? For kids that are ready to go, for kids that are just ready, right around the grade level standard, or students that are not quite ready for one reason or another. Now what you do is you take that activity and you clone the activity at varying levels of challenge. This is done by creating different versions at different degrees of complexity, abstractness, open-endedness. I want you to know that while we typically think of 3 levels, ready to go, just ready, and not quite ready, there really is no magic number of versions. The number of versions that you need is based on what your data says about the readiness of your students. Then what you do is you match the version of the task to each student level based on their readiness and task requirements. All students should be appropriately challenged. They should all be engaged. That's really what your goal is in terms of tiering. What I typically recommend to folks is begin design of a task just above the most ready learner, then scaffold and differentiate across all levels. That way we're moving people up rather than trying to start at the middle and stretch to 2 ends, or start at the lowest level of readiness and try and get it high enough. It's really better to start above your most capable learners and stretch across the areas.